So you are welcome to lecture 4 of strategic case study. Let me remind us once again about what the case study is all about. We are going back. What we are basically doing, if you remember, let me draw it for you again. The strategic framework or the strategy framework, what we call the elements of strategic management. So the framework we are working with is that an entity must have a strategy, and that strategy has a purpose. And the purpose of every strategy is its mission, because we want to achieve something. Its mission, vision, out of which we will have our core values. All right. So that is the purpose of a strategy. And to be able to have a good strategy, develop a good strategy, we said that we must do internal appraisal. Check what we have. We said that we must do stakeholder appraisal, and that thing I will take it again. That is where the whole corporate governance thing happens, and we will continue that. We must do external appraisal. So these are things when we want to develop our strategy, we have to look at. Because strategy, we learned the last time, is what you do consistently to be able to achieve your objective and also have competitive advantage. So with all these things done here, when we are able to do all these things, we will be able to come up with an objective. So we said the objectives are here. All right. And so all this part that we are talking about is what we call the strategic position. So if you are given a case to analyze, you must understand where is the entity in terms of external appraisal. If you remember the external appraisal, we did a pestle analysis, if you remember. And that was the external environment. We also did the industry environment, all right, where we use the Potter's 5 forces, if you remember. So here, if you remember, it is Potter's 5 forces. Those are the models. We have Potter's diamond, which I told you we will discuss, which is used for foreign land, Potter's diamond. And we have the pestle. So we did that. Today, my focus will be over here. All right, that is where my focus will be. So we said that once you develop your objectives, then we must achieve the objective. So how do we go by achieving our objective? So when you get the case study, you must know the strategic position of the business by doing a pest analysis or Potter's diamond, depending on the way the case will be going towards. Then you will have to see your options. What are your strategic options? What options do you have? What options do you have? Now you gather all your options and you select. So that selection, we call it strategic choice. You select your choice. So over here, we will be looking at mergers and acquisitions. All right. So business strategy, informational strategy, entrepreneurship and innovation. If you check your lecture 1, you will see the things that we are talking about. And you remember here we spoke about macroeconomics, the position, macroeconomic, industry environment. Today we are looking at the strategic capabilities. Then the stakeholder that I started, I will continue. Then we will look at the culture. So that will finish the strategic position. The strategic choice that you have, we will look at business strategies. That's where we will be doing something like the BCG matrix and all those things. All right. So you get your options, then you will select your option. You select your option, and immediately you select your option, you implement your option. That's what we call strategic in action or strategic action. All right. So we have strategy implementation. So this is what the syllabus is all about. All right. So yeah. So let's take this one. I can even decide to say that, okay, now let's take this one as lecture 2. And as we are coming to do this one, then we will do this one as lecture 3, and we will come back to do this one that we rather did as lecture 2 will become lecture 5, right? Because the first lecture was about this side. So this one will be 2, 3, and 4. All right. No, 4 and 5. So we can arrange it like that. So I'm going to look at the internal appraiser, And in the internal appraiser, we are going to look at what we call the resources and the capabilities. I think that is even better for me to designate this one as lecture 2. I will explain to you why. Because let's say we want to be chartered accountants, all right? Before we even decide which class to join or which school to join, we must assess ourselves. Are we ready to actually do that? So I think that one will be fine. So let's say this one will be lecture 2. And so we are looking at the resources and capabilities. Resources and capabilities. Now, you said you want to do ICA. Do you have the resources? Do you have the capability? It's a question you need to ask yourself. A business wants to do something, have achieve its mission or get to its vision. Does it have the resources? It's a key question that we must ask. Does it have the capability? How are we going to do this? So first of all, this resources and capability analysis explains to us how an organization resources and its capabilities can enable that entity. All right. Can enable that entity's strategy or constrain that entity's strategy. So that is the question what we want to analyze now. So therefore, we must first, there are 4 things that we are going to learn today. The first one is, what is resources and capabilities? What are they? That's the first question we must ask ourselves. What are resources and what are capabilities? So that's the first question. We will be asking ourselves, what are resources? And capabilities. Then number 2, we will be looking at the threshold resources versus the distinctive resources. The threshold resources. and the distinctive resources. So threshold resources and capabilities, distinctive resources and capabilities. Then number 3, and that is where I'll make you make good use of B2U. So we will look at how to diagnose or evaluate the entity's resources and capabilities. Then lastly, we will look at how an entity can develop, so the development of resources and capabilities, and how to manage them. So development, so let me say development and management of resources and capabilities. We can develop some. All right. So these are the 4 major areas of what we are going to actually look at. So we will first find out what are resources and capabilities. And when we are able to do that, we are going to now distinguish them between threshold resources and capabilities and distinctive capabilities, where we will use the model of VRIO to analyze these distinctive capabilities. And when we want to diagnose it, we will use the same VRIO analysis. We will use value chain analysis, value chain and system analysis. We will use the activity system mapping. And lastly, we will consider benchmarking. So you realize that this one is coming from man accounting, MA, benchmarking, and value chain to MA. All right. Yeah. So these are what we are going to discuss. All right. So let's now delve into it and look at them one by one. It's good to learn it, but I will try as much as possible to help you have the picture of how this thing comes in the exam, as in how you have a feel of it in the case that you'll be reading. It's very, very important. That is the most important thing. All right. So let's look at the first thing. What are resources and capability? When we say resources and capability, what are they? Last week, I gave you some short videos from my friend, B2U, to watch. How many of you did? And if you did, what are resources and what are capabilities? Who has an idea? When we say resources, what are they? Because in the case that you'll be given, you have to analyze what the strategic position, and look at the entity in terms of the environment, look at the entity in terms of its stakeholders, then look at the entity within. All right. So when we say resources, what's your understanding of resources? Resources are broad, but what's your understanding of resources? Yes, anyone? Resources. When we say resources, what's your understanding? Let's make it more interactive. Yes, please.
I would say the resources are something that the entity have in order to achieve their competitive advantage.
All right. So something that an organization has so that they can be able to achieve competitive advantage. Yes, anyone. I just want 2 people. We will move on.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Please, resources are anything that's beneficial to mankind or the entity.
Yeah. So anything beneficial to the entity. All right. Now, since you are accounting students, this word resource can come from even your accounting equation. If you remember, when you are asked to define assets, how do you define it? Resources controlled by an entity. Is that not it? So generally, resources are basically the assets of an entity, the assets. What the organization controls. What the organization controls. And please, resources, they are nouns, so they are nouns. They are not verbs. So take note of that. Like building, machine, they are nouns. They are not verb. They are not what an entity does. They are what entities have. Get it correct. What you have. What entities have. Not what they do, but what they have. They announce, all right, a name of a thing. Okay, so that is that. So there are so many categorization of resources. You can say tangible and intangible, but however, for the purposes of strategic analysis, we are going to classify our resources into three. Number one, we are going to classify them. I'll make it like four rather. So let me make it four. Because four will capture everything. So make it four. Number one, let's talk about physical assets. Physical assets. Example, give me examples of physical assets an entity will have. Physical assets. So we are looking at basically the NCA, the tangible non-current assets. So give me example of such.
Vehicles.
So the vehicles, the plants, the equipment, so the computers and things. All right. So that is that. These are physical. Then we will talk about financial capital. So the financial asset. Yeah. So here we are looking at your cash and bank. Your cash and bank. And because here the idea, and these are resources. So I'm here at resources. The idea is that where can we source money? And you can source money from your customers when they bought from you. You can collect money from them. Your suppliers, you can do credits with them. That is a source of financing. All right. You can also use your cash or the money at your bank for it. Then we also have the human asset. Human asset. So here we are looking at the employees and the managers. So please, when you are analyzing the case, you must open your eyes to all these things. So then the last one is the organizational processes, which is majorly the intangible asset. All right, the I is intangible asset. All right, so these are the assets that an entity has. So that is that. So the goodwill, the brand, and everything. So that is what they have. All right. So all the IAs that you know, the trademarks, all right, all those ones that you know of. All right. Now, when we say resources, these are the resources. Now, what are the capabilities? When we say somebody is capable, it means the ability to do something. That is what it means. Ability to do something. You have the ability to do something. Now, so capability are basically the ways. Remember, these are the whats. The ways, the assets, the ways these assets that you have here, the ways those assets can be used or deployed. All right. So that is the capability. So if you look at this one, for example, or your tangible asset, the question is that how can we utilize? So we are looking at the capabilities, we are looking at the utilization of the plant, the utilization of the equipment, the utilization of the vehicles. How can we use all these things to achieve efficiency? How can they make us efficient? How can they make us effective? And how can they make us economical? So how can they make us lower our prices, but achieve our target and even be efficient, do more than so? Because efficiency is the ability to use the smaller thing you have, get more of the small. Effective means you are achieving your target. Economic means that you are doing the quality thing at a lower cost. So when you look at the capabilities, we are basically referring to what an organization does well, what we do well. So that is this, what we do well. And here, these are verbs, the action. All right, the action. So separate the action from the noun. If you get the case and you are analyzing it, how they go about the thing to achieve competitive advantage is a capability. But what they are using is the resource. So take note of that. All right. So that is that. So for example, if you look at your financial here, we are looking at our ability to raise funds. Ability to raise funds. How well are we good at raising funds, managing our cash flows or cash flow management? How well are we, for example, if our money is with our debtors, if you read the question and they are having so much with their debtors, then it means that financial asset is a problem. So that is it. So you open your eyes to those things because you should be able to collect your money from your debtors. And that is why even in case studies, sometimes you must calculate the ratios. That is why, because you must analyze your financials. You will be calculating receivable collection days, payable days, working capital days. So when we get to that side, don't forget, because you are level 3 student, by this time everybody knows the formulas of the ratios. They are examinable here. They are examinable here. So you may be calculating the ratios just to assess the internal performance of an entity. That's what you do in corporate reporting. You are assessing the internal performance. All right. When you look at the human beings that are in the entity, do they have experience? So check the case. Are they skillful? Are they innovative? Are they motivated? All right. So ask yourself those things. All right. Then here, organizational processes. What organizational processes is going to give to you is that it is actually going to accumulate intelligence. That's what your processes does. Accumulation of intelligence. All right. It's intel. How is it able to accumulate knowledge? Intel means knowledge. All right. Over your competitors. So you have softwares, and the softwares is analyzing things better than the way your opponent is doing. I think if you remember the election that we did in Ghana, the NDC, they said they called somebody something computer Tanku or something. What was that name? The name of that man? Something Tanku, Dr. Tanku, Mr. Computer. I think that's the name they gave the person or something. And he came out to say they had a software that analyzed the data faster than the MPP people. So what you have, how is able to accumulate intelligence? And these days, organizational processes are becoming a very important aspect of it. That's why it is out of that place you have organizational structure and internal controls. So ISO this, ISO that, and all those things we want to structure. So that is the first objective for this evening. And that is it. So please, what you are supposed to do is that when you are given a case, all right, you have to do a strategic positional analysis. Positional analysis. And next week, before I even teach the next thing, I'll give you a case. In fact, I'll give you a case ahead of time. Today I go home late. I'll give you the case ahead of time. You will have to categorize the range of the entity's resources and capabilities. You have to categorize them. You will do that, and you ask yourself, how can those, or to what extent can they be a basis for competitive advantage? So that is it. This is what you are supposed to do in the exams. So you have to, when you are reading the case, you are reading, don't forget, I've told you that the first thing you do in a case study environment question is to know the entity we are talking about. To find out if the entity is a PLC or it is an SME, all right, like a public company or a private company, is it an SME or is it a multinational? All right, is it a public sector entity? Find out. And when you finish finding that one out, the next thing you are supposed to do is to look internally as you are reading the case, what the entity has. And group what the entity has. Group them, what they have. All right. So when you group them, then the next question is that how are we going to use this one to achieve competitive advantage? Now, how are we grouping them? These are what we are going to do. And that is the next thing of today's lecture, the second point. We need to make a distinction between threshold resources and capabilities. Edmond, remind me that I need to send you some soft copy books on case study. And
Okay, so
I gave everybody 2 books and short notes. Distinctive resources and capabilities. So we are going to group them. Now, every entity must have a certain level of resources before you can even survive. So when we say the threshold resources, all we are talking about are those ones that are needed. So the resources and the capabilities needed for survival. All right. So it is needed to compete. All right, in a given market. In a given market, i.e., you need it for survival. Without it, you won't survive. Or you need it to pull parity with competitors. Parity with competitors. Because if you don't have it, you will go down. You will go down. So that is what you need, the competitors in the market. So without that, the entity will never survive. Will never survive. So read the question again, like I told you the last time. Is it the case? Is it for a startup business? Because for a startup business, it means that it will be a big problem if we analyze your capabilities and resources and it doesn't meet the threshold. Of course, the case will make it known, like to be in this kind of industry, you need this, you need this, you need this. The entity has this or doesn't, like those things. When you are reading it, you will see the threshold capabilities and the resources. It is in the case. Now, if the case that you are reading is for a startup business, then you will know that this thing would be a problem. So if you don't have it, don't venture. That is it. But if it is an already established business, the care that you need to take is that these threshold business, they are not static, they move. For example, do you know that these days iPhone has become a threshold for university students? Do you know that? If you have a child who is going to university, it's like to let your child feel belong as a student in the university. It's like you need to buy an iPhone. Last semester, I did that thing in class. I'm in the level 2, I teach the level 200. I did it in class. I asked them, how many of you are using iPhones? You will be surprised. Even the kid or the student whose mark is always low in financial accounting is using the latest iPhone. I remember my experience with one student. I was there. A student said, a level 400 student, said he has gone to watch my video on YouTube and that he has some question, an exam question he wants me to solve for him. And I said, well, I don't think I have much time. We did our conversation on YouTube. Then I received a WhatsApp message. Say, please, are you on campus? I said, yes. I was there, and the student, the guy, he came to my office. And when he said that, yes, say, I have the question, we beg you, the whole class, we want you to help us solve it. I said, oh, no. Say, I will pay you. Then the student said that. Say, I will pay. I said, you a student, how can you pay me? He said, say, me, I deal in iPhones. And I've been selling iPhones to the class. So it's not like, don't see me as a student. I will pay you. It's very, very interesting. So it has become a bar. So in as much as you are established business, you think you are already in you are already having the threshold capacity. The threshold capacity and resources, they shift. These days, the threshold capacity for entities are AIs. You know where we are going now? AIs, the AI impact. All right. But the thing about threshold capabilities and resources are that they do not create competitive advantage. They do not create competitive advantage. Why? Because you only need it to what? To survive. All right. They do not. You need it to survive. You need it to pull parity with your competitors. Then we come to the distinctive ones. The distinctive capacities. The distinctive. So with the distinctive, these are the ones that gives competitive advantage. They are needed for competitive advantage. They are seriously needed for competitive advantage. Because these resources, the word distinctive tells us that these resources are so unique. They are unique. And their uniqueness is to create value for customers. They create value for customers. And if you remember the first class, the 9 elements of a mission statement, one of them is to create value for customers. Yeah. And another thing about them is that they are distinctive. So it is very difficult to imitate. Others cannot imitate it. It's like this class, the way I teach and the way others teach, I cannot imitate somebody. Neither can somebody do what I'm doing. Yeah. So in the Christian life, we say the grace on the person, the oil on the person is so distinctive. I may be good in doing this, but somebody may also be good in doing another thing. So very, very distinctive. For example, my boss, one day I saw my boss driving all the way to a Goyo filling station. I said, boss, you wanted fuel. There was one fuel near Shell in Committee 8. Why will you pass? We checked in Committee 7. He passed Committee 7, come to Committee 7, there is is it Total filling station or Shell? One be at the market there. Then she passed that one. She went past the Shell filling station at Community 8, went to Goyle Community 9 to buy fuel. I asked her, she said that, for their type of cars that they drive, the V8 and things, there's a particular type of fuel they can buy. You know, the Total 2 has Total Excellium. I think Shell is Shell V Power, right? Is it V Power? Mr. Eric, which one do you buy into your car? Because it is your car I've seen before. Hello, Mr. Eric. Which one do you buy into your car? Mr. Quiz, which one do you buy into your car? And you buy which one?
Shell and Total.
Shell and Total.
Shell.
All right.
Yes,
Boo Boo, which one do you buy? Or you buy the 2x3, we buy some now. 12.79, 12.79 yeah. Me, I buy 12.79. And the advice that I got is that
sometimes I do.
You should not let the fuel get finished. Other than that, you destroy your pumps. And so every time you have to be, because the total Excellium, I think that even you have 0 bar cry, you can drive the car for a while. But our own, oh God Almighty. So like the others cannot imitate them because it is not a single competency. It is actually a bundle of skills and technology. It is not a one thing for somebody to imitate. I don't think that. Yeah, I know people do classes online, but even how they write on your screen, does it come like the way I write on my screen? Even just how they write on the screen, does it come like this? No, because the board I use differs. Yeah, even my own colleague that is teaching the PSA in this school, his writing is different. So the thing, it is a bundle. It is not one thing. It is actually a bundle of skill and technology. Yeah, skill and technology. If you come to see me writing on a board, a physical board, it is not different from the way I'm writing. And this is how I write in an exam. But I have two handwritings. So these things are what we use to build our core competencies. Now, compare this handwriting. Compare the way I'm going to write core competencies. So this is it. This is what my third copybook gave me. But this one, as you are growing, you have to slant it and write faster. All right. So that is that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to analyze your distinctive capabilities, these distinctive capabilities, we use the VRIO. VRIO framework. All right. We use that. Now, of course, I will open it up for you, but do you know the acronym? The words there? V is for what? R is for what? I is for what? And O is for what? Any idea? V is value. All right. We are looking at distinctive capabilities. R is for rarity. It's rare. Then the I is imitatable, or you can say inimitability. All right. Then the O is for organizational support. Organizational support. This thing, it came from a theory, and I'm using that theory to do a research work now. It is called resource-based theory, because we are looking at the resource capabilities. It is called resource-based theory. So it is one of the theories I'm adding in my audit research paper, that if the entity resources the audit department very well, we will have good corporate governance. Yeah. So I'm using resource-based theory. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for us to go and do the resource-based theory, analyze the VRIO, and as usual, I will pause here. You will come back for me to analyze it for you, but you will have to watch it from my friend first. All right. Oh, hello, class. Oh, why? What's it that I can't be heard?
Hello, sir.
Hello there.
Yeah, please, what did you learn from what you watched in terms of your understanding on the V?
So he said resources are valuable. They enable the firms to implement strategies that improve the firm's efficiency and effectiveness.
So they are valuable when they can help you improve your effectiveness. And
Efficiency.
all right. So yeah, that's true. So when we talk of valuable resources and capabilities, the whole idea is that resource should be able to help you respond to opportunities. And by that, we mean that it should be able to make you make profit. So if you listen to him well, he used MPV analysis. And so if you get a project that you can do and the resources can let you achieve a positive MPV project, then it means the thing is valuable. Valuability is determined by MPV. And so in some of your case study questions, do you realize that you do MPV analysis? Do you know that? You do. I think last year, July, foreign MPV was in the question. All right. So apart from that thing making you achieve your profit, so like being efficient and effective, as you are saying, it should also help you for you to be able to manage your threats. All right. So that is that. Manage your threats. And when we say manage your threats, we mean that that particular resource must actually help you so that you don't make losses. Basically, that is what we are trying to say. Now, when you are analyzing the valuability, there are three things you consider. Three things. So please take note of that. One is the fact that that resources must help you take or have competitive advantage. All right. It must help you take advantages of your opportunities, and that is what I've already explained to you. All right. Or neutralize your threats. So that means cost. Threats means cost. What will make you reduce your cost? All right. And when we say something is valuable to, it means that it must add value to customers. It must give value to customers. Very important. Value to customers. What that means is that if you give your goods to supply customers, their critical factors must be met. You know, there are some people when you sell to them, they criticize one or two things about it. All right. So the critical factors, those things that will make the customer criticize you, must reduce. All right. And lastly, when we say something has value, It means that it must be able to help you. So apart from taking competitive advantage here or neutralize your cost, the cost is actually a point that means that it must be able to help you have some returns despite the cost, and that still goes into the positive NPV thing. So we call it cost benefit analysis. Whatever the cost is, that thing must still be able to help you generate returns. So you ask yourself now, are you valuable? Do you get returns from the things? So that is those are the things that you look at. What about the rarity? What did you learn about rarity? What did you learn? What did he say about rarity?
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
I learned that the resources the entity possess must be scarce, because if it is too
It must be
common
what?
for the whole, it must be scarce.
Yeah, scarce
Yes, okay. If
or
it
unique,
is,
right?
yes, sir. If it is too common for the whole industry, it means that no one will gain a competitive advantage.
Yeah. So read the thing. When you are reading the case, is there something this one has the other? And normally, these things come in an intangible forms. Normally. Yeah, but sometimes it comes intangible. Somebody may have a machine that is making him do the thing faster than you. Yeah, but normally, most of the questions check brands, check patents, check the trademarks, check those things, the intangible asset. For example, I feel like the way I teach is different from the way other people will teach. So it is rare. That's how I see it. Yeah, you may try to. It's not that common. That kind of thing. It's not that common. If you like, check how somebody teaches the same resources and capabilities. It is different. I think so. I know that some of my colleagues will bring the ICAG book and they will be reading to explain. Normally, this is how theoretical topics people go about it, but it doesn't make you remember the things as much as possible. It should be more of like interaction, like that kind of thing. Because psychologically, when something is theoretically taught, you won't get it unless you say something in the process. Yeah, so that you will remember that kind of thing. Or unless I bring it down to a normal life practice so that you remember it. So that is it. The methodology of teaching is rare. All right, so that is that. What about the inimitable? What about that? What did you learn from that? Because this word simply means something should be very difficult or it should be costly to imitate, to obtain or imitate. That's the meaning of the word. It is said that we, the business students, we don't really have good grammar. So imitate or substitute. All right, that is the meaning of the word. So in bringing it to our case, what you realize is that some things, the capability and the resources that you have should be very difficult to substitute. Very, very difficult. For example, let me give you an example. The first person who located his ICAG class in Accra. So location is one of the things. It has been very, very difficult for you to imitate him because he is in the center of Accra. And everybody can just drive there and all those things and be fine. The first person who brought the online, we are now all trying to imitate. He's gone ahead of us. So you read the question. A typical example is location. And another good example is the first mover of something. The first person who brings the thing. If you don't take care, by the time you realize, that person has advanced. Let me give you a typical personal example. All right. I think he's my senior. He is 1 year ahead of me in school. He's called what is the name, bruh? This fat guy. He is a FOG. Have you heard of FOG before?
Yes.
Good.
Yes, sir.
He's my senior. Now, FOG started the online thing very long time ago. He is the first move in this thing. I think from there, Inshira followed. So what has happened is that because they are the first movers of the thing, you can do a video now, all right? In as much as your video is better than his own, because he's a first mover, people will still watch his own. Yeah, that is the thing. That is the thing. Because human beings are associated with themselves with majority all the time. So when it's there and it's like that, everybody goes there. I am in Legon. I didn't plan doing these lecture videos until the students say, "Oh, we beg you, can you do the recording for us so that we will watch?" So when I started doing it, yeah. So in Legon, I have become the first move for that. So if you now come and do the same thing, the students will be watching mine than yours, whether yours is good or bad. So the first move of something, because they will feel like one is imitating the other. I saw FOG wasn't doing a video on financial management. He wasn't. But I recently saw that he has started video. But if you check my introductory video on financial management and his own, you realize that you know that this one there, everybody, but no, because it's a first mover of videos, it's people will still move to it, and it's part of strategy. All right, it is something. It is what we call inimitable. All right, so very very difficult. You because people watch that side, you will try. If you don't take care, you will say you want to try and imitate how he's doing it, and I've seen some people doing it. They go to a classroom, set up a video onto the board, and they are trying to do that thing. I use my technology, not going to any classroom, setting up a video. It's just my laptop. If I want to show my face, I'll show my face. All right. But I feel like this one is very okay. But I know that it will get to a point where that thing too will also happen, like the swerve will also happen. That's basically that's how it is. Now, my friend, my senior FOG doesn't do case study, but he will do case study. Yeah, and still people will watch. I think the people who normally, my good friend Bill is very good at also at case study, but his videos are not watched as much as FOG is being watched. Yeah, so that is how the first move of something creates that inimitability into the system, because everybody now gears towards that. All right, now, so when you are analyzing the inimitability thing, is caused by three things. It's caused by three things. So let me use this diagram just to explain it to you. So let's say I have here inimitability. Is basically caused by social complexity. That's a big one. Social complexity. And what do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? What I mean here is that, for example, here we are looking at internal links and external links that an entity has. All right. For example, when I started doing the videos, the internal link is my students of University of Ghana and UCC distance school and ICH. and I've created this internal link with you. And so it's very difficult for somebody to come and say, this one day I'm taking it. I want to imitate it. And I also, no, you can't take the people that I have that social connection with. So that's the complexity for it. It's internal. You have built something with your employees so that nobody can imitate it. Nobody can imitate it. Yeah, but externally too, you do to your customers and your suppliers. You have some kind of relationship with them that it will be very difficult for people to also imitate. So that social complexity is there. Like that link is there. It will be very, very difficult for somebody to also imitate it. Then we have what we call the casual ambiguity. Casual ambiguity. Now, what we are talking about is the relationship between your links, the links that you have, whether internal or external, that links that you have, and how that link, all right? So the link between your resources and your competitive advantage, your CA, your competitive advantage. Now, the thing is that has become such that it is very difficult to understand, very, very difficult to understand. That is what we call ambiguity. To understand it. Now, let me tell you something. We have some people, the gobe that they sell to us. Some of you are high class people, like you are high class people, but you still don't understand why you would drive to go and queue to buy a gobe. Yeah, because what has happened is that there is this casual relationship between the gobe seller using her zomi, the resource. And when you go, you buy the gobe, the zomi alone gets you stuck. That is it. And you don't understand why are professors coming here to buy gobe? And you know there are so many gobe joints. Some are very lucrative, like this one, Dignity, but Davi Gobeno, the one that is under the Apatano, that is the one still people are interested in. So you will sit down, you sit back, and you are like, Apa. You will never understand because the person has created that link between the resources, all right, and the competitive advantage that is generating. That is boggling, it's mind-boggling. You really don't understand. And it comes from the links that has been established, basically. That's where it comes from. Then lastly, we are talking about the culture and history. Culture and history. And like I said, the example that I did, and I think that my friend too made that the same example. We have, for example, in a village now, I think, was it Mensa Otabet that said that somebody offered East Legon land, a plot to him at 25 cities or so. And it was a bushy area, so he didn't go for it. And now look at how East Legon is. So the first mover, somebody can go and buy a land at a downtown, but you see he's a first mover. People will come, but there is a top-notch position. Well, no matter how the area develops, that guy has an advantage about that because he was the first mover. I think when you come to Tema, when you go to Potter City, there is a place like that. The pastor they bought the whole, like it is a big place. Central University, the same. All right, so you bought the land, and now the development is coming, and it has created the person to have that kind of asset that is very difficult for somebody to come and substitute. The business is positioned well, very well. We will see people coming around trying to do the same thing, but you can never compete because of the location alone the person has gotten, the historic location and the culture they create within that environment alone. People buy the thing because of history and because of culture. Have you heard of Binaton before? Binaton. You've heard of Binaton? You
Yes,
know,
sir.
now still people want Benetton Iron, Benetton fan. When it comes to television, now people still want Samsung. When it comes to, I use Sony product. My home theater is Sony. When you go to Kumasi, that's what we look at. Panasonic, Sony. Like, we want to look at the culture, the history behind those things, and that is what people are chasing to buy. Yeah, because of that. So that one too, when you are reading the case, check the historical move of what the person has been doing that is creating some form of competitive advantage for them. All right. It will be lovely once we learn this thing gradually. When your
Just
precinct
like
comes
in your school.
and we are analyzing it, you will enjoy it. You will enjoy it. So let's look at the last one. The last one, that is the organizational support. Organizational support. All right. Now, with the organizational support, we are looking at how an organization, you see, you can have something valuable, like your employees. All right. You can have them. You can have something that is very scarce. You have it. Something that people cannot imitate. But if you don't manage it well, that is where the problem comes from. So, how does an organization support these things? And so here we are looking at the organizational structure, the procedures in an organization, i.e., the formal and informal management control. Informal management control, the discipline in the entity, then the organizational knowledge, the collective knowledge. Because this one plus this one create an organizational knowledge that makes people surprised about how an organization is moving. So once these things come to play, do you support the valuable things? Do you support the thing that are scarce that you have now? How are you nurturing the inimitable resources that you have? All right. So this is the second part of what uh, we are trying to achieve. So there are left with two things for us to do. I will do that recording and I will add it to your class. God willing, tomorrow dawn. And that is these two: how to diagnose and evaluate the resource and capabilities. And we are going to use this one. So I will discuss that one and share with you. All right. But already you've seen this one already, right? You've seen how we use the VRIO to do that. You saw him doing it, right? Did you see him doing that analysis at the latter end of the video?
Yes,
Or
sir.
you couldn't get it?
Yes.
Yeah. So I will do that analysis for you. Sorry. And we so the next thing we are going to use this one, but I will complete that video and send to you. So these ones. Oh, where are they? Where are they? Oh, there are about 4 of them: value chain, the VRIO, value system, and benchmarking. Okay, so those are the things that. So I will analyze them, and I've already sent you the value chain. You also have the VRIO. In fact, I'm thinking of even doing a balance scorecard in addition for you. A balance scorecard. All right. So I will add those things to complete the 4 aspects of this one. So that will be the third one. These are the things I'm talking about. Then the system, activity system mapping. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I would think of adding a balance scorecard to it. All right. So let me note it. So God willing, by the time you wake up tomorrow, you will see a part 2 of this class. All right. So, and when you have it, you are going to watch it, and you will have, I'll give you a case and we will practice this. So, you see, the way we do this class, when we did the mission vision, we did a case. When we did the pestle, we did a case. When we did the task environment, which is the industry, we did a case. So now this one too, I'll add a case. Now, very soon, you will see me combining all the cases together and you bringing these things all out together. So that is what will happen. All right, we will analyze it. And I will give it to you 1 week for you to analyze. Like the way you have 2 weeks to do your quizzing, I'll give it to you 1 week for you to analyze. All right. Okay. So we will end here. God willing, tomorrow by the time you wake up, you'll see the part 2 of the video. All right. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I will share this one with you right now. All right. So thank you and have a good night.